The South Rim of the Grand Canyon done by Gemma Sky DVD presentation. The entrance to the Grand Canyon National Park. Confluence, where the two rivers meet and join together, where the sacred mound or creation mound is.
Hello and welcome to the DVD presentation of the South Rim of the Grand Canyon. Again, I've been meditating with my Crystal Skull Rainbow Serpent, aka Aussie, and he was then taking me to all different national parks and sacred sites that he would like to go to, and he was downloading psychic information or spiritual information about the places. And I found them so interesting with what he was talking about. And so I decided to do a presentations of all of the sacred sites he's been going on about. So this is one also in the series. And so I will go on about what he talks about. Of course, the Grand Canyon is a huge place, and he wanted to concentrate specifically on the South Rim. He says the South Rim of the Grand Canyon is actually one of the most important spiritual places that there is in America, and is in Arizona definitely. I had done previously to this one on Sedona because I always thought, as a spiritual person as I am, why people are so drawn to Sedona. And then Rainbow Serpent brought up Sedona in one of his presentations and gave me all the reasonings why people are so drawn to that. And then when he came through this time about the Grand Canyon, he said, I first have to understand the Grand Canyon and all of its spiritual detail to then really get the bigger picture on Sedona as well. So they must be linked, I feel, like a walkway. They would go from Grand Canyon down canals, down rivers, down into Sedona. So I feel like a lot of the spiritual entities and the tribes and spiritual events that I'm getting happen there at the Grand Canyon and also happen at Sedona, that they're two links. Same vibrational frequency I get from both. It's the same energy pattern. It's just the same feeling underneath my feet and my senses. So when I walk on Mother Earth barefoot, I can feel like when something's going to happen to the earth. I kind of know when earthquakes are coming or floods are coming. My feet will give me a kind of a tingling sensation. And so I know when something is definitely up. So basically when I remote view, I definitely take off my shoes and I walk across the land while I'm remote viewing. So if I get any sensations under my feet, it's just another psychic tool in my belt that I use. So let's go to the Grand Canyon. What I saw remote viewingly and astral traveling at night. So remote viewing is when I'm in a meditation and I take myself there and I'm the observer. So I'm walking around, but I'm observing the energy, I'm observing the entities, I'm absorbing the energy. I'm sitting down, usually on a little rock or a little platform, and asking them to remotely put in my head visions and residue and the story and the myths and the legends and anything that's happened on that site. I get them to implant into my head like a memory or like a video film that plays out through my head. Then at night when I go to sleep, and I ask my angels, and especially Archangel Michael, to take me astral traveling there. So that's when I go there in my light body form, and I actually get to walk around, feel it under my feet. I get to touch the rocks. I get to touch the trees. I get to really have a really good walk around, and I can go to this spot and that spot and that spot really, really quickly. And I get to really suss it out on a kind of a deeper level. So if you're using channeling or trance meditations and things like that, try and work out how you remote view and how you astral travel are two kind of different things. And once you work out those two kind of skills, it helps you much easier to attune in and to do any kind of spiritual work that you need to do there. And it just gives you two different layers. So they're my techniques that I use. When I'm meditating, I do meditate with Rainbow Serpent sitting down next to me or on my lap. And he also helps me go in quite deep, and then he explains the visions and everything that I am seeing, and I usually take him on astral journeys with me as well in my little backpack, and he comes with me for protection and guidance and to let me know if I'm missing anything. So onto the Grand Canyon. As I said before, I thought I'd just quickly explain my spiritual techniques. So first off, when I was there remote viewing, I was seeing lots and lots of different layers. And at first I didn't understand them all, and I had to go and do a bit of research on it because it was really quite overwhelming. There was a huge amount, like I was getting 33 men and women that I felt like died in a plane crash. And I'm seeing debris spread all across a mountain. And it's like where two rivers meet, and I feel like there's a vortex energy there or a huge energy imprint there. And planes that would fly over would have magnetic problems. They would have communication problems. Their instruments would go crazy. I just feel like there's just a huge portal there. And I feel like it's a creation spot, and I'm seeing a mound, and I'm seeing like Native American Indians doing tribal ceremonies over this mound, and it's got a hole in it that goes down to the underground or the underworld or the inner earth beings. And I'm getting the word confluence. Could be the name of the place where the two rivers meet. And I'm seeing like a kind of like a sandbank or an island, and then I'm seeing over into the distance I could say it's a burial mound, but I don't feel dead bodies as such. I feel more it's alive and more of a creational mound, and I'm seeing that's right there, and I'm could hear a Native American word for it, but I can't pronounce it, and I feel like it's very special to them, and it's a place of honor. And if you go there, I'm feeling like don't grab a rock or don't grab a flower or anything like that, because I feel like the spirits that are in this mound don't like that. And I feel like you might receive a curse or bad luck or something like that by taking a rock off the creation mound. But as I was saying, I also see like white men and white women, lost souls. Like I keep picking up lost souls, and I get the number 33. I get 3 3s that just walk the land. You know, they walk the canyons, and they walk the cliff faces, and they walk up remote areas, and they're all together. And sometimes there's a Native American ancestral tribe elders there who have passed over, who also help them and guide them and to get them off the land. But I just feel like they do this every night. It's like a time loop that keeps replaying every night, and these lost souls walking away. And I feel like they're connected to a plane crash, and I don't think their bodies have been found, or they haven't had their end. I don't feel like they've been buried properly, that they're still a mystery. So that's why they're still stuck here on that dimensional plane. It's like they're still walking, and I feel like if you go to these really remote areas, you'd have a really high chance of seeing these entities walk around, because they're definitely there. I can so feel them. You know, I feel like really haunted.
Some sacred caves near the confluence. inside one of the canyon's caves with a beautiful light coming through.
So part 3 of the south rim of the Grand Canyon. I was also taken to another place when I was off astral traveling, and they took me to the bottom of a sacred water site, and I was pushed up against the rock formation right down the bottom of the ground, and I was told to put my hand on it, and I did, and my hand went straight through. And then I was told, don't be scared to go in, that I was allowed permission to enter, that I had a pure heart, so I could go in. And then I let my arm go all the way through, and then half of my body, I had one eye in and I had one eye out. And I really had to just surrender and release, because it was quite an odd feeling. I felt like all my molecules were separating and expanding, and it was just vibrating this really different energy that I have never felt before. And I just had to keep deep breathing and then work my way from that in to the rest of my body, to the rest of my arm, until I was all the way this side, past the rock wall. And now I know it sounds crazy, past the rock wall, and then I was led down a tunnel again. As I said, that whole system there is a massive underground tunnel system, and I got into this huge cavern in this huge room, and it looked like something I've only seen on other planetary astral travels that I've been to. And it was a whole room of basically what I'm going to call floating bubbles, with entities and beings and spiritual beings inside these bubbles, but floating around in a very futuristic form. Or perhaps it's futuristic to us, perhaps it's really ancient knowledge, and perhaps that's what all the ancients did. But it was like entering into a whole new world, a whole new civilization. And I was greeted by ascended masters. I was greeted by all these beings that I've never met before, and I've tried to research their names or their look or their thing, and nothing here in our knowledge can explain who they were. I'm just going to call them dimensional beings, because they were very high frequency, very chatty, floating near me and investigating me and like sussing me out and wondering why I'm standing there in my light body form and why I wasn't in a bubble. And this bubble was like an energetic bubble of like kind of white pulsating light around them. And then I did have a thought while I was in there, were they the high priestesses of this area, and were they the ones just floating around holding the energy of this place? But I also got, there was some of them there, but there was also a lot of other dimensional beings there as well. It was really, really crazy energy. Sorry, I just have to smoke to keep grounding myself, because every time I think about it, it seems like I get pulled back up there in information, and sometimes it's just too much to handle. I also was getting in there like they were purifying me, and they were energizing me, and they were messing around with my DNA at the same time. I was seeing all different kind of machinery, but that's the only word I could use in our language for it. It seemed more like energy generators and power generators and things to cleanse and to purify kind of techniques were getting used by these machines. Definitely high vibrational flow. I could see them working with these huge crystal caves in there, and I could see figures all sitting in these huge quartz crystal caves. It was just really crazy. I could only stay in there for a limited time because the energy was really quite full on. I don't think my conscious mind was really ready to understand what I was seeing and what I was being shown. I also got told in there that others had had permission to come in here and others had talked about this, that a lot of the Native American elders knew about this, and a certain tribe who were connected to the dimensional beings knew, and they would take certain people in or certain elders in to view them and to communicate with them. I've never seen it since, and I've never seen it before, but it was a very odd experience. It was a very exciting experience, but very odd at the same time. I really didn't get to sit down and communicate with any of those dimensional beings, but I could tell that they just had their own huge civilization down there, and it was in another time, another frequency, another dimension. It wasn't our time, it wasn't our place. It was, I don't know if it was future, past, or present, but I feel like all of time didn't exist in there. It was just a place of being. So that was one of the unusual astral travels that I've been on. I also get, I was also taken to a place that had petroglyphs on it, and caves, and a little civilization. Then a lot of the petroglyphs that I was shown anyway, I'm not sure what's there because I haven't been there, physical anyway, were a lot of the insect people, the insect race. And I got told many years ago that the insect people, or the insect race, were actually the Anunnaki. And if you spell out their name, Anunnaki, it actually says ant friend is the translation that you get from the Anunnaki. So I feel like they were there as well, and I feel like they were communicating in one of those dimensional tunnels as well. I feel like a huge natural disaster there. I feel like a lot of water, a lot of flooding, a lot of the caves got flooded, a lot of the tombs got flooded. It must have been one hell of a flood, because these caves and tombs are quite high up on ridges. So it could have been even the great flood that the Bible talks about, and that scientists have proved that has happened around the world. But I feel like there was water, and I can see sea creatures, and I can hear whales, and I can hear dolphins, and I can see mermaids, and or swimming through all of these caverns and things like that. And I can see a lot of the petroglyphs talk about creation story and talk about the insect people and things like that. So, and I can see they talk about water and things like that. But I feel like that was a purification of the earth, and it cleared out all of those sites as well.
What a truly spectacular waterfall or watering hole in one of the canyons. Such a sacred place.
So the South Rim of the Grand Canyon, part 4, the final part, hopefully. So as I was saying in part 3 about the ant people or insect people, I also got told that they saved the Native American race, and they took that to that burial mound or creation mound, and took them down into the inner earth, and they sealed off the opening of the dome, and so the water couldn't come in, and they kept them down there with the inner earth beings until the flood had passed and all the water receded, and then they were allowed to come back up and out through creation mound again. That they were the integral part of saving the race, and that's why the Native American Indians do petroglyphs about them and give thanks and honor to them, because they know without them they probably would have perished. I also had another extraordinary vision. This place does it to you, I can tell you. Just go and meditate there yourself and see what you pick up, because it takes you off to places that would make you, line up for a straitjacket, really. This one, I was sitting on the Temple of Isis rock formation, And I was just staring out to the beautiful scenery, into the beautiful colors of the sunset, and just getting lost in the magic vibrational energy of it all. And then I saw something really weird out of the corner of my eye. I was told to look up, pardon me, and when I looked up, there were these like Tibetan monks flying. They weren't hovering, they weren't standing, they weren't sitting, they were just like flying, kind of like Superman, in the skies in front of me. And I could see about 3 of them, and they were going to each of the different rock formations and just circling them. And then I could see them way off in the distance over in another rock formation and just circling it, and then they would come closer until they finally came to where I was sitting, and they were flying up in front of me, and I could see them in yellow robes, and I could see their beads, and I could see their shaved heads, and I could see them doing a prayer. Well, I don't know if I could hear them, but I could psychically hear them doing a prayer, and I could see them dropping like different fabrics, kind of like their prayer flag, but a very old ancient form of it. Like, I feel like some were dyed with red ochre and different colors, and they had symbols on them, and they were dropping these prayer flags, for lack of a better word, ceremonial scripts, down onto all of the sacred sites on top of all these rock formations. And I could just see them flying around and giving energy and giving vibration. So I don't know if they were there astrally as well, or if they were there physically, or they were visitors, or they lived there, or they had their own civilization there, which is definitely quite possible because it's such a dimensional place. And it's definitely got portals and vortexes, even more than Sedona. I'm getting with this South Rim. I'm getting so many portals and so many vortexes. I just got told there's 25 all up, where Sedona has a good 8 to 10. That psychics know about, but this place has got about 25 different vortexes, especially all in those cave chambers and rock formations. There's vortexes that will take you straight in, or you can do the physical walk straight in. But I'm sure these monks were there for a reason. You know, being a Buddhist, I follow more of the Buddhist religion than anything else. And I feel like they were connected there to explain something to me or show something to me. Not sure what it was, or they were just trying to make me feel comfortable and at home. But I feel like they were there for energy and for wisdom and for knowledge. And it was quite beautiful watching them fly around. Take that as you will. So yeah, that's about all I saw. Three big major things there. But I hope you go and do your own investigation. I hope to go there one day and take the crystal skull, and to find the Egyptian tombs, or find someone who knows the entry in and allow me to go in and see them would be fantastic, and take photos of the hieroglyphs. I would love to walk around the Osiris temple and Isis temple, and Knus temple, and everything like that, and see what connections there are there. And I'm sure there are, because I'm just getting a big goosebumps up and down my arm, that they're connected to the Australian hieroglyphs and the Australian tombs and things we have here. And I know their connection. I feel like they're the same kind of people. They might have gone there first and then come to Australia, or some of them might have come to Australia and then gone there. Not sure, but I know they're connected somehow in some way, and it will take further psychic investigation to work it out. That's the fun part. That's the exciting part. So at the end of this presentation, I will show you some of the artifacts, the Egyptian artifacts that have been found there, some of the tombs, some of the drawings, some of the information that I could find about it. A lot of people think it's a hoax, just like they do with Karagon, just like they do with Gympie Pyramid, just the same government putting out its spiral of blah that makes no sense. It's the same thing here, but I definitely know there's an Egyptian civilized there, like 100%. My psychic senses know that energy and know it very well. I've been on other sacred sites with that energy, and it is the same energy. It's completely the same energy, even down to the same people. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was informative, and go visit there yourself. Bye.
A beautiful little secret water grotto. Some of the pictographs or petroglyphs that are found on the Grand Canyon on the South Rim. Creator gods with a two-headed animal, look like turtle faces or fish faces. Large warrior man. Some of the insect or ant people petroglyphs. Again, the insect or ant people petroglyphs. Warrior men and hybrid animals, and it could be a rainbow, or it could be talking about the creation mound and the warriors being in there. They look like Olmec kind of gods to me. But when I see this one, it really reminds me of the Egyptian hieroglyph where they've got the woman who's overstretched, and they talk about that being the earth, and then all the other Egyptian gods underneath her. And this one just strikes me very similar, the same mound, the same shape. Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm really drawn into this one. Again, some petroglyphs. This one's very interesting. Looks like a feline or a cat faces. Half cat and half snake, or half something else. A lot of interesting creatures, a lot of interesting symbols. And people build retreats, of course, and around near the Grand Canyon. And this one is one of the teepees that you can hire and be with and enjoy the Grand Canyon's energy. And the beautiful archways or windows overlooking the Grand Canyon. Some old monuments found on the site. Overall picture of the Grand Canyon. You can see from right over the left-hand corner the Tower of Ra, 6 miles. And there's a beautiful water canyons, a little river running through it. This is where I was taken, similar to this, where I put my hand through the rock wall. Some old stone terraces and platforms, some old buildings, some old ruins. Beautiful picture of the rainbow in the Grand Canyon. Again, some old ruins with the windows, some caves. Beautiful sunrise with some orbs. Again with some archways, some rock windows. I call this the healing bowl, but it's the purification bowl is probably a better term, as the water runs down in this little crevice that you lie in. It does a cleansing and purification ceremonial process on you. I can also see many of the ancient tribeswomen here would come here to clean themselves after giving birth. The beautiful diamonds and orbs as you meditate outlooking the Grand Canyon. Beautiful cactus flowers. Some other rock formations. Looks like a face, a big Olmec god's face. Looking out to the Grand Canyon, a stone people. Spider grandmother. Just like when we had at Sedona, I was also picking up on her walking here and being here. And the spider grandmother is actually also known in Egypt as well. So I thought it was funny that she has her energy signature here in the Grand Canyon and at Sedona and also in Egypt. Beautiful rainbows in the water with little crevices and caves. American eagle flying across it, guarding and protecting and observing what's happening. Animal totem for the area. Here is on the rock, I can see a big alien face and alien body and alien figurine carved into the rock, the side of the rock. Not a very good clear picture, sorry, but hopefully you can see his face right in the middle of the screen, in the reddish area and the orange area. Here are some orbs coming down and bathing the rock faces. Again, some green orbs and an orange orb. Double green orb. The Egyptian connection. Information that I was able to find to verify what I'm seeing psychically. Here is a picture of the tunnels and the octopus that I was getting, and with the tombs and the crypt. Some of the hieroglyph walls that were found in the tunnel, supposedly. One of the tombs walls in the crypt. Some hieroglyph stones that were found with a sacred geometry spiral there. Some information about that was in the paper that was found about the site. A detailed diagram of what the explorer found. Here is a picture of the tombs that he found and the Buddha statue. And again, an excerpt from the paper. Vishnu Temple, Grand Canyon. Look at the face in that stone up there, right in the middle. Eyes, nose and mouth. One of the sacred temples. Isis's temple, the Grand Canyon. That massive cave system in there. Look at all the cave openings. There was said to be a hieroglyph wall that was very similar to this as the same one that's in Egypt. This is the one from Egypt, but he did scribble down something that looked very, very similar. Traces of the giants found there also, and mummies found. Again, more articles. Again, one of the sacred Egyptian temples. This one is Osiris. This is Isis. You can even see her face, the little headdress and her long hair going backwards. And then on the other side there's a face, and then the other side looks like a dragon on that little top peak there. Some artifacts that were found. Hieroglyph wall. Some of the old ruins. Look like very Egyptian ruins. Another sacred artifact that was found. Some of the cave systems with heaps of orbs. And look at the clear quartz there in abundance. Some old observatory towers. More artifacts that were found. The cave system that's dangerous for people to go into. The sacred site of the Native American Indians. Is their creation mound near the confluence. And the entrance in, people often leave flowers and crystals and stones and pottery and gifts and offerings here. Some people can feel really sick when they get onto this creation mound, get really dizzy or vomiting. You'd have to be very grounded and ask for permission and be very respectful and honour it. The end. Thanks for watching.